Hi guys, and thank you for joining me. This is going to be your 2015 review reading. I know it's coming in the end of January. However, I think that it's still going to provide you guys with all the questions that you have. So answer all the questions that you have for the month. I'm reading with the Alexander Daniloff Tarot deck, and I'm using only the trumps from his deck. But the deck with the lower arcana, which is all 78 cards, I am selling on my website, and you can get the link below. I believe this deck is one of the best decks out there, and that's why I chose it. So, without further ado, let's begin your reading. Hello Scorpio, and thank you for joining me for this is your 2015 overview reading, and I'm reading with 22 trumps, all 22 trumps in one reading for your 2015 overview. The way that I'm doing the videos is by views watched by sign in 2014, and you guys came in number 4. So thank you so much for being huge participants in my success last year and supporting me through making these videos. I hope that they were of benefit to you and that you enjoyed them. I very much like Scorpios, and so I'm very excited to do this reading for you right now. So I'm going to give the cards a bit of a shuffle. Like I said, I will be laying out the entire deck of cards, and make sure to watch the video for your moon and your rising sign as well, and that will give you more insight into the year's progress. If you're a woman, a heterosexual woman, you may want to look at Mars to see what men are up to in your life this year. And if you're a heterosexual man, you may want to check out Venus. For women, Venus will talk about your emotional experiences, and for men, Mars will talk about their agency in the world, as well as for women actually, but those planets are really tied to the feminine and masculine. So you can find out your chart online, and if you need help with that, I do readings through my shop, and then I can identify some key videos that are important for you to watch as based on your birth chart. So that's a lot of fun. I'm cutting the card for Scorpio for 2015. And I'm going to lay out the cards one by one, and then we'll go through it. Now this video is comprised of 2 sections because the video, it's just too long to do with one video. So I'm dividing it up into 2 sections, and the first part will talk about the general situation, whereas the second part will really touch on the deeper spiritual implications of the matter. Let's have a look. So here we have, I know it's hard to see, so this is your layout, and I'm going to use my trusty red paper pad in order to show you guys the cards. These are the Alexander Daniloff Tarot deck, and so you're familiar with it probably from my review video, and you can get it in my shop. I sell it directly through my shop for you guys as well. And it comes with 78 cards, not just the 22, but I'm using the 22 because I don't have his trump deck, which I really want, and so that's what I have to work with. So I'm just taking a look at, when I'm chatting like this, I'm just trying to get a feel for the cards in general, to know where I begin, because I'm going to not be able to see a lot of this once we begin. Okay. Alrighty, so at the center of the reading we have the Emperor. So the Emperor is talking about, this year is really about you setting out your kingdom, and so that kingdom can mean a business kingdom or a home, and you're really establishing your roots, you're establishing who you are and what you're about and how you relate to the world at hand. And so you're kind of in charge, and you're asked to manage the entire world around you. And some of that world will be a bit chaotic, much more so to do with other people than you yourself. But I think you're close enough to what's going on that it's going to have an impact on you throughout the year as well. I think by the end of the year, you'll make some life decisions, particularly about your family and friends. You may find yourself in a new relationship at the end of the year, or may want to change something and regenerate and start anew. I think that has to do with maybe some of the implications of your social environment, as well as the conclusions you're deriving about that social environment. So the Emperor is talking about an establishment of world order. You're very much at the helm this year, so you're really taking a leadership position in your interaction with your family and friends, as well as in business relationships. This is a great time, this is a great year for you to really establish your kingdom, and that can mean starting a new business or really rising up in the ranks of your job or positions. What's crossing you is that there is, for the majority of the year, there is a stasis that you're going through. You may want things to progress more quickly, however, you will be asked to wait and see. And so that will progress throughout the whole year, and essentially I don't think that the fundamental shift that you're waiting for is going to happen in 2015, but I do think that what's going to happen is that maybe some relationship issues are going to start shifting. So there is going to be transition, it's just not what you are setting out for at this time. I think that maybe some of your responsibilities as being king, so if you're a single mother, this is a card of single mothers, or if you're a father, or if you're a mother who takes on this kind of provider role, maybe that role will have an impact on you in how far you can change things and how far you can shift stuff. Overall, I think that you'll be quite passionate about things in life, and that a lot of passionate about things in life, and I think that you'll get a greater world perspective as the year progresses. I think that you, like a couple of the other signs so far, are having this pensive sort of year, a pensive year of your review. This may have to do with 2014 being quite rocky for a lot of signs. And so 2015 is kind of the corollary of that. And so I think that moving forward, there's going to be a lot of changes, particularly for a lot of signs, to the end of 2015. But I think going through the process, you're coming out on top, and you're kind of taking a review of all the matters. And I think that some of the conclusions you've derived, you're ready to move forward on. However, maybe it's not time to do so. So I advise you to just kind of take your time, wait and see before you make final decisions on things. I think you are the decision maker in a lot of aspects. And I think that being the decision maker, I think that maybe you need to be a bit cautious with how you make those decisions and how you move forward. I think that you have the power to make change, but I think that a part of that power is the power to reserve the ability to make change. And so therefore, maybe the safer and wiser rulership decision is to perpetuate a continuation of the status quo and not be the force of change this year. And that's really kind of a, sorry. And for Scorpio, I guess this is kind of unnatural because you are built on change. Your fundamental precepts are that of change. And so you want that change to happen. And in your outer world, you're very tantalized by it. You have the Tower in your social condition, social world, kind of coming up. This could be wars. This could be fighting amongst people around you. You may be the person who's kind of emancipated through all these processes, but you have to get through the mire of the back and forth and the arguing. Many of you Scorpios will be really involved in matters of war this year. So when I say matters of war, I don't mean like huge terrorist actions or international conflicts, although that might be the case for some of you, but let's face it, war is really applied to everyone. This is the warring mind or the warring state. And so you're kind of at the center of this. I don't think that you yourself fall victim to it. In fact, you're kind of you're the cream at top of the milk. So you're the if the war is the milk, then you kind of rise to the top, and you're not as affected by it. However, it is still a part of your condition or your experience. In fact, it's kind of a difficult position to be at, because you see maybe people fighting around you, people you know having disagreements, and you're kind of benefiting from that. So it's a difficult position to be in, because I'm sure you don't want to reap off of other people's suffering. But yet some truths for you that are coming out is that through the deception of others, through the backhanded nature of others, somehow you are actually emancipated in some way. And that's a really difficult position to be in, because you essentially really need that break, and you essentially really want that break, but the way that break's coming for you is not the way you want it. And so I am telling you that as long as you are not involving yourself in a malicious way in this circumstance, if you're not pushing it along further to get more and suckling it dry, which would affect your karma and destroy the flow of things, as things fall onto you, just understand that that's nature and the way things are in life in general. When there's a loss of something and a drainage of something, and something becomes vacant, and there's room for it to be filled, and so you're allowing. You're the thing that fills that void, and so that's not necessarily a bad thing. The important thing to get at from this is that you remain truthful and you do not exploit your position, because it's a powerful position you have. So for example, if you're applying to a certain university or school, there may be, because someone is unable to go, they don't have the money, they get sick or whatever, you get the position. But it's not like you're opening the door on someone's back so that they get more sick so that you guarantee your spot. So it's kind of, you can't be the agent, the catalyst to making the situation worse for the other parties, particularly because they are vulnerable beside you and you're watching this happen, and you don't want to destroy that balance. I think a lot of what's going on has to do with shadow work. It has to do with the unspoken language of yin energy, what's below the surface, and the moon. I think a lot of things will not be apparent, and there will be a lot of enemies and duplicitous talk, around you and in your environment. So you need to be really cautious and careful and critical with whom you associate with and how you associate at this time. I think people who may have secrets from you who are quite good for you, or people who mean you well at least, they may have secrets that have implications on you. So people may have broken the law, people may have their own issues that are kind of scathing to you to be associated around. And so it's your position to kind of draw some healthy boundaries and identify who those people are, which is a real tricky thing, because those people have hidden that from you, and so therefore it's not easy to identify who or what is doing what. And then the question comes, do you eradicate that person from your life? Because those choices that they make are for themselves alone and not you. So it's like finding out that, a mutual friend's partner has cheated on that mutual friend, and so how do you associate yourself with that situation, even though it's not your situation to be had, but it's one that you're exposed to. And this is something that's going to actually impact you throughout the whole year. And so this is going to be some of the themes that you interact with regarding matters of social standing and situations. I think if you're dealing with the legal system in any way, then I would try to get you to wait as much as possible in dealing with it. I think that what's happening is kind of behind the surface. It is kind of sinister, and so I think that actually attaining justice in a way that will be conducive to your well-being this year is not going to be an easy path for you to follow. And so in fact, I think that justice becomes a bit unjust for you this year. So you may not want to seek to be the martyr. You may not want to seek to be exalted this year. Although an aspect of your good name, and provided that you have been truthful and honest, is going to be kept, but the outcome of that is still going to be not exactly the outcome that you sought. So you get your name cleared, but you don't quite get the restitutions that you deserve for what you've been through, which is unfortunate, but a part of the circumstances sometimes. In the undercurrent of the situation, there's a deep involvement. I would guess that the devil is involved in your life in some way, and I read the devil in a variety of ways, and there's a variety. The devil is one of the most dynamic cards between the positive and negative associations associated with it. But in this instance, I do think that there is a devil that's ingrained itself in your life, and that person, I would say, is really got its claws into you in a far-reaching level and has extended themselves within your network. This is someone who, again, you may not identify right away. This is someone who's keeping secrets from you. This person may have personal problems. On the other hand, this person is actually targeting you and is quite a little troll trying to get under your skin. In the undercurrent, I think that what you will have to do to face him is focus on education and new beginnings. Your way away from this person or this situation or circumstance is to really study hard, get in touch with religion, get really okay spiritually, and really kind of in touch with God and wait your turn, because this person has their own methodology through which he does things, and it's so in the shadows. And so I don't know if you guys know this, there's this personality diagram. It's like a 8-point star, and so you have stressors, and then you have personality types that help you along depending on what your personality is, and then you have wings. It's a really common psychoanalytical tool anyway. And so this person would be your stressor. This is your stressor personality, has the way that, so with Scorpio being quite honest, this is the person that can quite openly live as a dishonest person, which is very hard for Scorpio to deal with. And so yet you're tied with this person because he's kind of delved, and you feel intruded upon by their presence. But the only way to manage this circumstance is to really focus on education and setting out new beginnings. And those new beginnings are going to come for you. It's just going to be a matter of time before this person runs its course. Unfortunately for your circumstance in the matter, I think that the situation has gone so far that it's up to when this person will exhaust their interest in you rather than you drawing the boundary. You are very much at the mercy of this person's kind of decision making about their presence in your life, and it's frustrating, and it's very like stalkerish, and it's not comfortable. But this person will kind of persist in your life until he finds another victim, until he directs, or she, it could be a woman, until there's a resolution for their own interests, and then they'll go a different direction. So it's really a blight in your life that you're dealing with, and the way that and that's the undercurrent, the unspoken truth of what's going on, and the way that you can get through it is tenacity, and that tenacity is really associated with focusing on positive new directions and really growing your mind and getting stronger with dealing with circumstances. There's unfortunately not very much you can do. You can use different kinds of talismans and stuff in order to deal with him. But he set this undercurrent, and unfortunately for you, Scorpio, you let this person in, and so you let this person roam and participate in your life, and there were warning signs which you chose not to take on, and I know some of that was made with good intentions in mind, but this person is just gone too far. So this is the last triad that I'm going to read about, And this is with regard to the past influences on your life leading into the present. And the past influences on your life are closely associated with motherhood, being a mother, or your wife. And so this is to do with the feminine principle of yin, and so that's the receptacle. This is the nurturing aspect of feminine qualities, and so this can be applied to men and women. This has to do with the fact you're actually at this place in your life. It would have been much worse if you hadn't nurtured yourself, and so you've taken on, through everything you've gone through, you've nurtured yourself and you've taken care of yourself, and that's really been modified with a really positive outlook and a little bit of fortune. So you've been in the right place at the right time while doing the right things to make yourself ready to take on new opportunities. I really wish this was your outcome card, because it's really good time that you had spent in nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, and it's probably a great reason why your center card here is the Emperor. In the midst of all this flux, all this kind of negative personalities behind the scenes, other people's lives really falling apart and affecting you, you yourself are the Emperor, and so therefore you are quite established and quite strong, and these aspects are essentially not eroding you. They're just thorns in your side. They're things you have to get through. And you yourself are actually kind of slowed down by this process, but that's the extent of the impact on your life. There's not a fundamental loss or a destructive element that's happening. If anything, you're just kind of clearing. It's kind of a trickle, I would say. There's a trickle of improvement in your life, and that's really closely associated with the work that you've done in the past. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this part 1. Stick around and click through over here somewhere to part 2. Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Happy 2015, and let's look how everything evolves.